Fort Collins, Colorado, a city known for its charming old town, craft breweries, community identity, and outdoor adventures. But like any place, Fort Collins does have its quirks.
In today's video, we're going to explore 7 reasons why you might think twice before calling it home. Hi, I'm Jeremy Holton.
And I'm Amy Holton with the Holton Home Team and eXp Realty. We love this city and we love that we get to help people every day with their plans to move to Fort Collins. But the fact is, Fort Collins is not for everyone. And the first reason Fort Collins may not be for you is because it's a college town. Ah, college towns. They're vibrant, they're lively, and they're full of, well, college students. In Fort Collins, every August marks the beginning of a new academic year, and with it comes a wave of fresh-faced students ready to embark on their college adventure. But for some residents, this influx of young, energetic individuals can be a bit overwhelming. So here's the scene. It's a warm summer evening and you're enjoying a quiet night at home. Suddenly, you hear the sound of laughter and music in the distance. As you step outside, you're greeted by a sea of college students, some in their various states of, let's just say, inebriation, making their way through the neighborhood. And how about the infamous frat parties? These gatherings are not for the faint of heart, as they often involve loud music, rowdy behavior, and the occasional party goer mistaking your front lawn for a dance floor, or worse yet, a bathroom. So perhaps the most memorable event in Fort Collins college town history was the epic pool party at Rams Point back in 2011. Nearly 2,000 students gathered for some late night fun in the pool, turning the neighborhood into a scene straight out of a movie. So if you're someone who values their peace and quiet, Fort Collins college town atmosphere might not be for you. But if you're up for a little excitement and don't mind the occasional late night party, then hey, Fort Collins just may be the place for you.
Okay, number 2 is that housing is hard to find and it's expensive. So with the rapid growth here and the limited land for development in Fort Collins, finding a place to live can be challenging. And when you do find a place, you're probably gonna have to pay for it. So here's what happens for many people. They're on the hunt, they're looking for the perfect home. Every rental, every house for sale is quickly snatched up. The fact is that the demand for housing exceeds the supply, so that makes it tough to secure a place that meets your needs. In fact, in recent years, the competition for low supply homes equated to bidding wars when trying to purchase homes in Fort Collins, sometimes leaving people overpaying by tens of thousands of dollars many times over. So make sure you consider the cost. With the high demand, the limited availability, prices in Fort Collins can be sky high. So whether you're looking to buy or rent, be prepared to pay some money in order to find a place to call home. According to recent data, the median home price in Fort Collins is definitely above the national average, making it one of the pricier housing markets in the state. So if you're thinking about making the move to Fort Collins, be prepared for a competitive housing market and higher than average prices. But hey, for many residents, the beauty and the charm of the city make it all worth it. And while we're on the topic, I want to remind you that this is precisely what we specialize in. So if you're considering a move to Fort Collins, we can definitely help you put a strategy together so that you're not flying solo as you try to relocate across the country. Please call us, text us, email us, or just use the calendar link down below to schedule a complimentary strategy session. We are here to help.
On to number 3. Colorado is the land of stunning mountains, outdoor adventures, and the unmistakable smell of marijuana. That's right. Thanks to Colorado's legalization of marijuana, the pungent aroma of weed is a common experience in many cities, including Fort Collins. And whether you're walking down the street or relaxing at a local park, chances are you'll catch a strong whiff of that familiar scent. For some, this might be a welcome change, but for others, it can be a bit overwhelming, especially if you're not a fan of that smell. And let's not forget, there are dispensaries. With marijuana being legal, you'll find dispensaries scattered throughout the city, offering a variety of products to suit your needs. But even if you're not partaking, you might still find yourself surrounded by the smell. So if you're considering a move to Fort Collins and the smell of marijuana is not your cup of tea, you might want to take this into consideration.
Number 4 is the train. So if the thought of living near a train track gives you visions of sleepless nights and rattling windows, then you might want to think twice about calling Fort Collins home. A lot of us love the sound of the train, but if you're the kind of person who's laying in bed about to drift off into dreamland And just as you start to doze off, you hear the distant horn of a train approaching, and that's a problem for you. Well, you're gonna have to face it when you live here. Now, the tremendous noise is only going to be the case if you live in certain parts of town, but most of us do experience some train noise to some extent. If you're living down the Mason corridor or anywhere near that middle part of the city, that's where it's going to be the worst. Now, it's not just the noise that you're going to have to contend with. Living near train tracks means dealing with traffic delays as trains pass through town. That's definitely something all of us are tasting. That could be a headache if you're trying to get somewhere in a hurry. So if the sound of the train rumbling through town at all hours isn't your idea of a good time, or if you don't like the traffic delays, you might have to steer clear of the neighborhoods that are near the tracks when you move.
On to number 5. If you're not a fan of sharing the road with cyclists, Fort Collins might not be the city for you. Known for its bike-friendly infrastructure and active cycling community, this city is a haven for two-wheeled commuters and enthusiasts alike. But for some, the constant presence of cyclists can be a source of frustration. Here's a common experience. You're driving through Fort Collins minding your own business when suddenly a group of cyclists appears, seemingly out of nowhere. They're everywhere, riding in bike lanes, sharing the road, sometimes oblivious to the fact that traffic is piling up. They're like in the middle of the road, like 100 of them, and seemingly flaunting off their perfectly sleek figures. What about the occasional cyclist who decides to ignore the traffic rules, darting in and out of traffic without warning? Talk about a recipe for big kid words for those who are unaccustomed to sharing the road with bikes, and perhaps for those of us who are accustomed to it. So, if you're not a fan of sharing the road with cyclists, you might find yourself a bit frustrated in Fort Collins.
Okay, number 6 on the list is the infamous Greeley smell. Some call it the smell of money. Some call it cattle. Some call it one of the largest meat packing plants in the United States. And if you're familiar with it, you know just how distinctive it can be. While Fort Collins may not be the source of the smell, residents occasionally get a whiff of Greeley's imposing aroma when the winds decide to shift in a certain direction. So here's what happens. You go outside expecting a face full of that Rocky Mountain air, and instead you get something powerful from somewhere else. You're looking around trying to figure out where this may come from. It just smells like a cattle yard is what it smells like. It's wafting in from Greeley. It all comes down to wind patterns. When the wind blows from the east, you'll know exactly what we mean when you get here. But fear not, Fort Collins residents are used to this. It's fairly rare, and it's definitely short-lived. So if you ever catch a whiff of something unpleasant in the air, just remember, it's probably not you. It might be you, but it's probably not you. It's probably Greeley.
The 7th reason Fort Collins may not be the place for you is because the weather keeps you on your toes. If you're someone who prefers more predictable climates, you might want to think twice before settling down in this city. Fort Collins is known for its extreme weather. In the winter months, Fort Collins transforms into a winter wonderland with the snow-covered streets and frosty landscapes. While the snow can be beautiful, it also means dealing with icy roads and very chilly temperatures. Now, when the summer rolls around, Fort Collins turns up the heat, and the temperatures regularly reach in the 90s and even 100-degree mark. So it's not uncommon for residents to seek refuge in air-conditioned buildings or splashing around in the nearby neighborhood pools or the Cache la Poudre River. And you'll definitely want to be aware of those summer storms. When the clouds roll in, they can bring with them fierce winds, lightning, and hailstones the size of marbles, golf balls, or even the occasional grapefruit-size hail. These storms can be not only dangerous, but also costly, with many residents finding themselves in need of new roofs or windows after a particularly severe storm. So, if you are considering a move to Fort Collins, be prepared for a climate that can be as unpredictable as it is beautiful.
So there you have it. 7 reasons why Fort Collins might not be the perfect fit for everyone, from the bustling college town to the challenge of finding affordable housing to dealing with extreme weather. Fort Collins certainly has its quirks, but hey, that's what makes it unique.
Despite these challenges, Fort Collins has a lot to offer. From its beautiful scenery and outdoor activities to its family-friendly community and Rocky Mountain culture. So while it may not be the right fit for everyone, for many, Fort Collins is a place they're proud to call home.
Hey, thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, you're going to enjoy our video on 10 things to know before moving to Fort Collins. Until next time, I'm Jeremy Holton.
And I'm Amy Holton with the Holton Home Team at eXp Realty, helping you find the place you belong in Northern Colorado.